Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Creative Cat podcast. My name is Ray Breezee. I do video, photography, and music. And yeah, this podcast is practically about creative artists and entrepreneurs. So let's just let the song roll out, you know? All right, guys, welcome to the Creative Cat podcast. My name is Ray Breezee of Lucky Cat Beats. I do music, I do videos, and I do photography. This podcast is about creative artists, anybody that's a creative entrepreneur or anything like that, talking about the creative side of things and being an entrepreneur. But shortly, the podcast that I'm starting now is practically just going to be me just talking a little bit about my journey. I'm sure I'll have guests within time, but you know, with the whole thing going on with the Rona, I don't think I'll be having any guests soon. But I just want to talk a little bit about where I got started. So a little bit about me. My full name is actually Raimundo Berriesa. I switched my name to Ray Breezee just because, I don't know, I thought it was cool. But besides that, I grew up in San Diego, California. I'm practically born and raised here, and I still live in San Diego, so you know how it is. But yeah, besides that, I grew up in a family out of 5. I'm the youngest. I didn't really have a lot of interaction. There was kind of like an age gap with my family, so I kind of grew up on my own. But the thing that I always had and the thing that I always felt that I was supposed to give back to was music. And the reason because of that is because music has gotten me through a lot of stuff. There was a lot of things that happened to me when I was younger and whatnot. Kind of like my parents got like divorced when I was younger. And I was just dealing with a lot, you know, and music always helped me get through those things. But it was a long journey before I started making beats. So besides that, so let's talk a little bit about my journey. So one of the things that kind of started pushing me a little bit more towards music was football. So I played football when I was in middle school, just probably for like a couple, 2 or 3 months. There was things that happened that I wasn't really allowed to like my mom, she couldn't drive on the freeway and stuff. And so like she had some like, she has a couple like mental problems and whatnot, but practically like she couldn't get on the freeway, and then like my dad couldn't take me to the freeway. So so I would miss my games and whatnot. And that just caused me to be like really, really like emotional. And I had a total mental breakdown because I couldn't make the game. I had called the coach and stuff, and I just couldn't handle it. It was too much for me. So I quit football. Years later, all I really had was music. And so I used to listen a lot to like a bunch of metal music, and I was really angry, very emotional. And yeah, so during that time, I used to listen to a bunch of metal music. I bought a drum set, and I used to try to be in a band. But what ended up happening is I was the only guy really trying to do this thing with the band. And I was just like, you know what? The guitarist would forget some of the riffs. He would forget some of the loops. He would forget some of the stuff. And then the vocalist would like mess up and whatnot. He would forget certain lyrics. And so everyone was all over the place. And so like 2 or 3 months later, I was like, you know what? I'm done. And like, I remember that day, that day when I was quitting from doing music, particularly, I just grabbed my drumsticks and I threw them, and I was so angry, and I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm taking my drum set back. And yeah, so I was playing drums for about like 2 or 3 years, and then after that I started going to school. And so a little bit at that time, so a little bit about going to school. So the degree that I ended up getting was a theology degree. I studied to be a pastor, but I ended up changing my mind after I finished school. And the main reason that I finished that is that I started learning a lot about just kind of like, I guess, a little bit of racism in the church, or ignorance. And you know, I was always asking people like, hey, like, why? Like, so let's talk a little bit about that. So if your population in the church that you planted in the city is mostly white, and it's not really it's not reflective of the majority culture. Sometimes, mostly the churches that I would go to, they were predominantly like Mexican, at least the population, but the church was mostly white. There were things that I would see that I was just like, like that doesn't add up. Why don't you have like other Mexican pastors? Why don't you have this, da 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 da? And practically the same response I would get always and always was just that it wasn't a priority. And so, the curriculum that I went through and stuff, like there are great people and everything, but like when I would ask questions about like social justice or anything like that, people would just like not bat an eye. They wouldn't really say much about it. And so at that point, I was just like, I grew up in the hood, and I saw a lot of like I didn't see it, but I knew like if I like joined gangs or anything like that, like I could have easily died from where I grew up. And I just kept to myself a lot. And like people don't seem to understand that, like just the craziness of that. And like I just got really frustrated that people didn't understand or even want to understand where I came from. And so practically I was just like, you know what, maybe being in the church isn't really for me. So what I ended up doing is I ended up selling my drum set. After I sold my drum set, I bought a computer, and actually there was this guy that I used to listen to like a little bit of rap. His name is Ruslan. Shout out to Ruslan. And I like their music a lot. Their name was Dream Junkies, if anybody has heard of them before. And I tweeted Ruslan and I asked him, hey man, what do you use to make beats? And then he got me introduced to Reason. And then from there, I started messing around with music when I was like in school. I was messing around in, I think, junior year. And practically I was making music nonstop. I just loved it. There was sometimes when I had to finish papers and I was working on music. It was just so fun to me. Like, I used to be a drummer and stuff, and it was just really, 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 really fun for me. I would stay up to like 2 or 3 in the morning. Hold on. Excuse me. I would stay up to 2, 3 in the morning just making beats on my phone. Then I bought Reason. I started making music on Reason. And from there, what ended up happening is, so I was still doing music. There was an event that Ruslan had. So I used to try to rap and whatnot. I was okay. I wasn't the best, but I have a little bit of like insecurity issues. But now I'm just trying to push through them. You know how it is. You just got to start doing things. And I just started doing things. So I went to an open mic that Ruslan hosted. And through there, I know this is crazy. It's hella crazy. But through there, everyone was trying to get their contact information and whatnot. And so as people were trying to get their contact information, I pulled up my computer and I was just like, hey, why don't we do an Excel spreadsheet, and then I'll just email everybody their like information. And there was this one girl, I can't remember her name right now, but she was like, oh, you seem kind of like, what is it, like administrative? And she knew of a friend that wanted to do administrative things. And so she gave me the information from that person. And I actually didn't end up winning that contest. I did terrible. I forgot some of my lyrics. That kind of happens all the time. But what I did end up meeting was Belief. So some of you guys might have heard of Belief. Some of you guys might not have. Belief, well, when I first met him, he was a rapper, but he also had a YouTube channel. And his YouTube channel is Belief in Fatherhood. But I didn't know any of this. I was just interested in the music part of it. But so I ended up meeting him from that one girl. So that one girl referred me to Belief. Then I had a meeting with Belief. Belief was looking for somebody to do administrative things. And I started working for Belief. And so one of the crazy things that I learned about him was video. I never thought about doing video after I graduated from college. I actually didn't want to learn video. I just wanted to learn everything about music. And Belief was trying to teach me video stuff about videos, how to do color editing, how to do edits and all that stuff. And then I was just like, nah, man, I don't want to learn any of that stuff. That's just whack. Later on, I asked a person to do a music video for me, and they wanted to charge me about like $500. And I was just like, you know what? I can buy a camera for that, and then I can just make my own music videos. So I tried doing my own music videos. I didn't really end up well. So like, I know this is a crazy story. It's all over the place. But so I was trying to learn how to do music videos, but I ended up learning how to do video. I eventually I stopped working with Belief because my car broke down and I had no way of going up to where he was. And so I ended up kind of just being on my own for a little bit. And then after I had the chance to buy a car, I didn't go back to working with him. Not because I didn't want to. Belief is really great and everything, but it was like 30 minutes away, and I was just like, I'll just try to do things on my own. Couple months later, or about half a year later, I go to a event that Curtis King is hosting, and it was a producer event. So I ended up going. I met Curtis King, and then I started that day a lot of people were taking pictures with him, and so I was just trying to get close to him, not in a I love you type of way, but like trying to like maybe do videos for him, because I did a little bit of video editing. I learned a couple stuff from Belief, and so I tell him, hey, I know Belief, and he knows Belief, and I started taking pictures during the event for the people that he was meeting. I didn't ask him for anything. I was just like, hey man, I do video. If you need help with like videos or anything like that, let me know. And so about like a month goes on, and I'm like thinking, damn it, like he doesn't want to like take my services or anything like that. So I was kind of bummed, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just do my own thing and just keep on doing videos and doing whatever, but then he ends up calling me, and then he asked me to do a video. So the first video that I actually got to do for Curtis King was I got to do a video for Curtis King, Simon Servita, and Oh Gosh Leotis. So I've met Oh Gosh before. I didn't know anything about Simon Servita, but man, like I was just so happy to be there. Like Oh Gosh is a shit. He is a super dupe producer. Like man, like he's super dope. Yeah, so I go there, I have all my equipment and stuff, and as soon as I get there, I have this really bad headache, but I pushed through it. Luckily, Curtis gave me a little bit of like this, like, there's this like stuff that you rub on the back of your neck, and like after that, like my headache kind of went away, and I was just recording the video for about like I don't even remember. I think it was like 5 hours. I don't remember. It had been a minute, but hold on. The camera did something weird. I gotta make sure it's still recording. I'll be right back. And so I'm doing the video, and after that, so during that time, Curtis was like, hey, so I got a couple people that are gonna be coming through. If you do well, I might end up keeping you as a videographer. And I was just like, all right, so I gotta be on my best game. And so that first video, like it was just crazy, man. Like I never thought I would ever be that close to any of those guys, because they're really great producers, and I'm so I'm okay. After that day, I ended up practically doing videos for Curtis for about almost a year, probably 3/4 of a year. But what ended up happening is, good old the Rona, I haven't really been doing videos for him because, I understand he wants to protect his family and stuff, and he doesn't want anyone to catch anything. I work for Amazon and whatnot, and so I don't want to pass that on to anybody. He doesn't want me to pass that on to anybody. But long story short, I'm still doing music and whatnot. And now I'm just producing a lot more music now that I have a lot more time free. What's really crazy is that out of all the people that I met, so when I met Ruslan, he at least gave me or told me about the software that I need to make music. So that was one thing that I learned. And then the second thing is with Belief. Belief taught me a little bit about video. And then Curtis, he ended up teaching me about how to make video content, which is what I'm trying to do now. So like that was all in the span of like 2 years after I graduated. And like I just want to talk a little bit about people that have graduated from school. Like if you have your degree and you're altruistic like me, and you don't want to do work for people that you, or for companies that you think that are doing bad, like try to figure out a way to do what you love. And like it's been painful and it hasn't been easy. Like right now I work for Amazon and I make $15 an hour. I have a degree, I'm about to get married, and like I'm not in the best position financially. Luckily my girl is. God, I love her. She's great. Like right now I'm starting to be a little bit more successful with music, or at least with my YouTube channel. And man, like I wish I had taken the risk to do this earlier. Like I was doing music for about like 4 years, and like I never took the initiative to really just kind of dive in fully because I was scared. Like I was scared of failing. And like I don't know why, man. Like if you're scared of like failing, like that's the worst that's gonna happen is you fail. But over these like 4 years, like I've learned so much, and I'm in such a better position than I ever been, like content wise, like just keeping my head in the game, figuring out what I want to do, trying to build my own little empire, so that I can stop working for Amazon, so that I can finally start doing music full time. But it's just the journey that I went through. Like the journey that I went through was crazy. Like I went to school to try to study theology, but I didn't end up doing that at all, you know. But I learned a little bit about like thinking skills, critical thinking skills, stuff that I do all the time now. When I want to learn something, I know how to learn it. Like I learned a little bit about marketing, like everything that I know about video, everything that I know about music, everything that I know about all this stuff, I taught myself, you know. Like no one taught me besides YouTube, you know, like that's what I'm saying. But you know, like I've learned everything on my own, but at the same time, like I'm thankful to God that he also like that he taught me like how to like that I met Ruslan, that I met Belief, and that I met Curtis. And without them, I wouldn't be around, you know. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But all that to say, just to summarize, is that like if you're doing something and you don't like to do it, like start doing something else. Like just start start doing whatever it is that you love, you know. And you don't know where it's gonna lead you, you don't know the skills that it's gonna give you or anything like that. But yeah, so now a little bit about what I'm doing and whatnot. So I'm still doing video, I'm still doing music, I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I'm doing all this so that I can be financially free, but also so that I can be more, just more invested in myself, because we all invest money on other stuff, but it's best to just invest in ourselves and whatnot. Dude, it's getting really hot. I'm dying out here. It's really hot. But yeah, so that's practically my short little story about me. So the following weeks, what I'll probably be talking about, there's a couple things that like, so I started my YouTube channel about like 2 months ago, like my beat channel. And like what's crazy is like one of my videos almost has like 400 views, which is pretty good for the first week. But yeah, man, like it's been really crazy. I've like, I don't want to talk too much about it yet, but there was a person that shouted me out, or at least they recognized me, that I never thought I'd be recognized. And like just I guess the biggest theme overall is just like how insecure I am, you know. Like it took me so long to start releasing music. It took me so long to just start doing videos. Like I've always known how to do all this stuff, but I just didn't have the courage to do it, you know, like, or at least to publicly release it to people. And like I just started like releasing music. I just started releasing stuff. I started releasing videos, and I don't know how to say it, but like I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm grateful of seeing people recognizing me at least a little bit compared to having zero views and whatnot. And I'm just thankful that I can see a light at the tunnel. When you're an artist, you just think the worst. You think the worst things, nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna see this. Why am I putting all this work to this? I'm not making any money out of it. And it's hard, man. It's hard. You just wake up, you spent money on speakers, you spent money on all these things, and you're just man, what am I doing? And you're not making any money out of it, and you're just oh my God, what am I doing? And at the end of the day, for me, when you get really, really sad and you start when money isn't enough, when maybe even your girlfriend / fiance, your wife, whoever isn't enough or anything like that, the thing that always gets me back on my feet is music. I'll start making beats. I'll start pouring my soul to it, and there's nothing that can help me out like that when I'm in a really dark place besides music. And I just feel like I owe music. I don't think I would be around if it wasn't for music. Music ministers to me, music can just capture everything, and so even right now, as I'm trying to figure out what to do and stuff, I would practically be doing nothing if I hadn't invested in all these things. If I hadn't invested in recording equipment, if I hadn't invested in a camera, if I hadn't invested in learning how to do YouTube, all the things that I know right now are 2-3 years of experience, and now I'm finally applying it during this whole Rona situation. And I don't think I would be as good right now mentally if I haven't been doing music, if I hadn't been doing videos, if I hadn't been doing all these things. And one of the things that I'm really taking away from the Rona situation, and this is not just that, but it's really been a time for me to just kind of get myself together and to be more confident in myself, and to just start making more content, start taking a risk in myself, start taking chances. And so yeah, man, I can't really think of anything else in particularly, but like I said, the main thing is that you need to start to anybody, whether you're a producer, videographer, photographer, creative artist, creative entrepreneur, just start taking risks, and if you fail, you'll learn so much from those failures. I want to I have to tell myself that every day, is that you just have to take risks, because otherwise, how else are you gonna grow? And man, I just see that throughout my whole life. I went to go get my degree, I took a risk, it didn't end up working out, but now I'm using critical thinking now. I took a risk on a camera, and I ended up learning how to use a camera. I took a risk on making music, and now I know how to make music. And so I'm still not exactly sure where I will be landing, but I know that this is all the beginning to something more. This is the foundation. This is the building blocks to anything else. And you just have to take a step into the unknown and not really be scared. But yeah, let me check a little bit on the audio and I'll be right back, because I don't know if it went or if I silenced the mic. So hold on. All right, cool. So I'm about at 25 minutes, but that's just a little bit about my story. Hopefully it didn't really bore you guys. Here we go. I'm a little insecure, but you know, like, I'm glad to get some of this stuff out of my chest. I wish I could do it through music, like as a rapper, but I can't. But yeah, man, like, I appreciate you guys if you guys watch this. I know I'll be making short little content out of this, but I hope this helps you out. And maybe I'll see you guys next week. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna be talking about next week, but yeah. Well, thank you for watching the podcast or hearing the podcast if you listen to it. I'm gonna figure out how to put it on Spotify and all that stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Keep on doing what you have to do. Like, don't be scared. Make sure that you take risks. And yeah, this is Ray Breezee of the Creative Cat Podcast. Peace.